What's up guys, I'm Virtue and today we're going to be going over how to do a lens flare reveal. So I'll show you guys how to do this. So there are definitely different aspects to this, like how to make it seem seamless when this thing comes in, the slight gradual declining of the scale, and the wiggle, like as you can see, well, the flickering. You'll understand why I called it wiggle right there later on. But yeah, just going to go over some cool things that you can do in After Effects. So let's get started. So shall we? Okay, wrong one. I'm going to make a new project. No problem saving there. Create a new comp. You can have it at any resolution that you'd like, but I'm going to have it at this one just so it renders faster. It's okay. And yeah, let's get started. I'm going to start off with the text, lame game, and I'm going to use the title action safe in order to center the text. I think that's about good. It's not really quite centered, but do you understand why soon? Now I'm going to add an image. Okay, add it there. Now your logo could be like just one piece or like multiple pieces, but how I like to do it is I like to compose my pieces together. You can scale it uniformly by holding the corner and holding shift while you're scaling it, just to maintain the same shape. If not, you'll have this kind of problem, but yeah. Alright, so I think that's about good. And what I want to do is selecting these two, hold Control Shift C, and that should bring up the pre-compose window. So now compose this logo, and yeah, so right now I have one composition inside of it that contains both the image and the text together, so I can just animate this and it would animate everything. So I have that. Let's move on to the lens flare. I'm going to use the base lens flare in After Effects. I'm not going to use any like Video Copilot stuff. I just want to show everybody how to, everybody, not limited to like people who have this program, like what to do. So I'm going to go use CC lens flare from Generate right onto there. I personally like the 105mm prime, but I don't quite like the color. So what I like to do is I go to hue and saturation, drag that on there, and I like to colorize it like a bluish tint. That's good. It's nice blue. Yes, and the thing about this one is that it doesn't immediately reveal the background. So what you have to do is you have to go to mode, you have to go to add, just to make sure that get the black you can get through. So right now that's our image so far. We have this and we have this. So first things first, I'm going to go to the brightness, and this is just a small thing, but it definitely does add to the quality of the lens flare. You by pressing Alt click on the stopwatch, what should come up is this text here, and you want to type in wiggle parentheses, I'm gonna say 3 comma 25. Now what that does is that when it renders it, it'll come up like this. So it's like flickering. I think this is the speed of which, the first number is the speed of which, like how many times it changes every second, and this is the amount of which it changes. I think maybe like 15 might be a better number. Yeah, I think that definitely adds a nicer flickering light to it, smoother. Okay, now let's get on to animating this. So let's go on, we need to animate the flare center. Wrong button. Click on the stopwatch to animate it, and we need to animate the brightness. So I want the brightness set to 0 initially. Set to 0. It might be a little bit of brightness because of the wiggle aspect, but you don't need to worry about that. It's going to happen so fast that no one will notice. So I'm going to go up about a few frames. Actually, the best thing I should do is probably animate the flare center first, just because it definitely sets the tone and like the shape of how you want the lens flare to act. So I'm going to just move it over, as you see that point right there. And alright, so right now the lens flare moves over like that. So these 2 points represent each end. So I want the lens flare over here to gain some brightness, so people can see the lens flare is happening. I think about 72 is about a good amount. And once it gets to the center, I want it to completely overwhelm the screen, so like it hides the fact, you know, like something's being revealed. And then once it gets about here, I want it to fade back to about maybe like a 30-ish, 40, 50 is about good. And yeah, so right now it goes like that. So obviously the text isn't changing yet because I haven't animated it, but right now what it looks like rendered is about, one second, this. Now I know what you're thinking, that looks pretty slow. So the one thing I like to do is like animate slower, but then quicken the pace afterwards. So you can do that by selecting all these points, holding Alt, and scaling it just by holding that last point. Now it scales everything like accordingly, so it moves it faster by proportions. So this is how it looks now. I think a little bit faster would be better. Okay, and I'm going to press F9 while all these are selected. It also cause it to be a bit smoother when it does it. So yeah, just move it over a bit. So it's like nothing. So let's play it full speed. There you go. Looks perfect. So just some what I was saying before. If you want, when you select a point, just press F9 in order to add smoothness to it. Like, and as you can, and you'll know you've been successful when it comes out to this hourglass-ish shape. And by selecting all the points and holding Alt, you can scale them accordingly, like by proportions of the entire setup of key points. Okay, so next thing we need to do is animate the text itself, little logo. So let's go to the logo and let's go transform. How I like to animate it is actually using the opacity and the scale. Just by pressing the page up button, you can go back a few frames. See right there, page up, and page down, like, no, obviously goes forward a few frames. So I just want to go back a few frames and change the opacity to completely 0. So like as soon as it passes that mark, there, it reveals itself. And so go back a few frames as well for the scale, and maybe more than the amount of the opacity change, and change the scale to a ridiculously large amount. You can do this by holding shift and dragging it to the right, so cause it to like increase drastically instead of just, you know, dragging it longer and longer. And I want you to go change the top mode and add motion blur, both the layer and the comp. Now what this will do is, let me just like get rid of the lens flare temporarily, is that it will cause this after image to appear when it's moving, because since the text is moving so fast, it causes the image to blur. And when I animate like this, it definitely adds to the effect right here. Like as you can see when I get rid of it, like it looks a lot nicer when you animate it. So definitely play around with that with the scale, but yeah, that should definitely add to like the look. So right after the image pops onto the screen, I want it to like kind of get smaller over time, just because it definitely looks nicer than it just being stationary there. So maybe about 6% decrease, and I want to click on the last point and press F9. That will cause it to smoothen out like when it gets closer to the end. So this is what we have so far. Play it at full speed. That is what you should have as well. Once you're done, you have the reveal, you have the logo, and you have a nice gradual decline. I'm going to move this a little bit farther just because I think it's subtle but not quite long enough. So perfect. Now with the lens you can definitely add some more to this. Maybe if you want, you can add some particles in the background, maybe another lens flare if you like, or just in general, like maybe even add another one to reveal on top of it. Just change the shape, not the shape, but like change the text again and again. There's the sky's your limit here with this animating technique. So if you learn something new, please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any ideas for any future videos, please PM me or leave it in the comments. And thank you for watching my video on lame edit. Awkwardly I wrote lame game, but old habits die hard. So Virtue signing out. Thank you for watching.